new crew member for the day, this big blue tank. She's helping us polish our fuel. In the spring of 2022, we bought a 1980 downeaster cutter that was neglected for a decade. We sailed her up north to her new home port on the central coast of California, did a major haul out, and prepped her for blue water cruising. This life is completely new to us, but the dream is far from it, and finally we see it within reach. For the first time ever, we've moved on to Mundial and are continuing to ready her before we set sail. Thanks for joining us as we acquire our sea legs and say goodbye to land life. It's such a beautiful morning. For the first time in a really long time, we have blue skies. And I'm just working from home today, and Grant has officially resigned from his job so that he can prep us to set sail. Yeah, it's kind of scary. So today he's working on getting some reefing points in our sail because we're not able to reef right now.
I just have to figure out how we're going to reef
Our original sail had 2 reefs. Since we were having a new sail made, we thought having a 3rd reef would be best. So we installed a new cheek block, changed out the 2-line clutch for a 3-line clutch, which worked out because the 2-line clutch was broken anyways. Oh, gosh. I know you want to help Dad, but I don't think you can that way. Oh, jeez. Yeah. No, that's my seat. Oh my God. No, we made you a queen bed over there, Ash. Come on, get your queen bed under the dock. There you go. Gosh, spoiled. Working from home today, and we have a new crew member for the half day here, and it's this big blue. We call him Big Blue. He is helping us clean our diesel fuel out. Grant is repolishing it, which I just learned normally people pay for, and we are doing it ourselves. I don't know why I'm surprised by that.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Ew. Grant originally started out with an electric pump, but all the filters got so clogged that he had to swap it out for this manual pump to pump out the old fuel. This manual pump ended up getting solidified chunks in it. We aren't even sure what it was, hard crumbles that would come out as large grains of sand or even bigger than that. But luckily, we could take apart the pump quickly and remove those chunks and clean it. So we did this on repeat until the tank was empty. However, there were still large chunks on the bottom, so Grant was adding the fuel back 3 or 4 gallons at a time that he ran through a Baja filter. Then he would agitate it in the tank and then pump it out again until the tank was empty. Yeah, I think it's going well. And now he's got the scope out, right? And you're checking to see
just take a
if
look
it's
at
empty.
That's one. It's empty.
We've been, polishing or taking the fuel out of here for like, I don't know, a couple hours. Grant is repolishing our diesel fuel. There's our engine. There's his setup. Got the pump.
God, this pipe is way too long.
And there's my work from home station.
I'm just priming because I lost my prime.
Oh.
And now we're going back into the tank just in a loop to polish the remainder of the fuel.
Yeah. It's just fuel. Okay. After realizing the volume of diesel we had to polish, we decided the effort to polish it versus recycling it wasn't worth it. So we decided to take it all to the hazardous waste instead of polishing it, because it wasn't much and our time was more valuable. It really ended up being only about 8 to 10 gallons. But now we have a Raycor filter.
I'm doing some electrical today. So I'm going to connect our DC to DC charger. I was on a chat with Renogy, and for the 40 amp DC to DC charger to our lithium battery bank, they say to have the charging profile at 14.4 volts. So I set that on the switch here. So the DIP switches, it's off, on, off. I won't need a temperature sensor. I'm going to wire the D plus and the LC, so limited current, to a toggle switch, which is somewhere. The reason I wanted to wire the D plus to a switch, and that switch is going to get power only if the ignition is on. Since on our boat you can turn the ignition on without the engine running, I didn't really want to have power that would be able to be on without the engine running. Now, if this switch is turned on and the ignition's on, then it'll have power. But my hope is that I can turn this off when I don't want to be charging. And then since it's a 3-way toggle switch, I have it set up so that I can go power to D plus or power to D plus and limited current. So if for some reason I felt like I needed to use that feature to drop the current from 40 amps to 20 amps, which is built into the Renogy charger, it does limited current like that, I'll be able to do so with this rocker switch. But I've got this going for now, and I need to be able to start the engine in order to search for a current source that will have power when the engine's actually running, which will be an exciting thing to find on my own here. But I can't start the engine right now because we don't have any fuel in the tanks, because I've been cleaning out the tanks, but I've got everything plumbed back. Now I just need to put fuel in it, and since it's empty, I wanted to put our fuel gauge in, which I did verify with our sender that it does in fact work. So I'd like to get this wired so that as I fill the tank with a measured amount of fuel, I can see what corresponds with on the gauge. It will be somewhat crude, but the shape of our tank, if any the downeasters out there know, is not a rectangle. It is not symmetric top to bottom. It looks like a champagne glass, a fluted champagne glass actually. So it's super narrow at the bottom and then it just comes out super wide. So I'd like to figure that out so that I have a good idea when I look at this, because as you can understand, half is not necessarily 45 gallons. It's probably like about 10 gallons left.
Okay, ready? How many of these can our engine hold, or our fuel tank hold?
I think they say it's 90 gallons and those are 5.
While Grant worked on electrical, I got to filling the tank with 5 gallons at a time of diesel fuel. I then turned the ignition on and took a photo of the fuel gauge after every 5-gallon fill. Knowing how much exactly was in the tank, we could get a better idea of the fuel gauge read. It's crude, but at least it helps us feel good about reading the gauge. Grant was at his parents' house trying to renovate the Aeries wind vane that was given to us by Garrett and Ruth from Salt and Tar. Having a backup autopilot is definitely on our list before we take off, so Grant had dedicated all the time he could to getting this to work, while I was left to continue with replacing our deadlights, something that I was extremely nervous about possibly messing up. What I anticipated to be the hardest part, taping the corners of the plexiglass, turned out to not be so difficult. Took some careful tracing and cutting, but was pretty easy overall. Okay, looks good. Enough to take the plexi off, sand it, clean it, and apply some Sikaflex. Grant has left the boat to go diagnose our wind vane that Garrett and Ruth gave us. Thanks. Shout out to Salt and Tar. Because we have an autopilot, but we do not want to leave the harbor with not having like a backup autopilot. So we're gonna try to get the wind vane fixed and on our boat. And then I am left here to do some projects on my own. And the last time Grant left me to do a project on my own, I definitely made some mistakes. So I am gonna go slow and be meticulous and try to get this plexiglass installed so we can have a new, nice window. These are the iconic windows of a downeaster. Next up was sanding where the Sikaflex was going to go. And then wiping clean with some acetone. All right, I'm nervous. So this is gonna go here. And then finally it was time to apply the Sikaflex. But not until I made one last call to Grant to make sure I was doing it correctly. Hi, sorry to call so many times. I have the Sikaflex in my hand, opened and ready to caulk, or like use it. Do I put it on the glass or the fiberglass first, or both? Okay. Nothing. Okay. And then I fill the holes, right? Okay, I got this. Okay, love you, bye. Okay, I got this. Okay, I just finished up the outside, putting Sikaflex on the plexi and screwing it into the frame, the fiberglass. And then I cleaned up this side of the plexi, and now I'm going to put the aluminum frame on. Okay, I think it's going well. Now that the plexi was in, it was time to install the aluminum frame. And then the last step was to fill Sikaflex behind the aluminum frame. This was the most difficult for me because I had to slope it so that water wouldn't pond above the aluminum frame in the dried Sikaflex. It felt like I was doing art with the Sikaflex. It was messy and took a long time, but I eventually got it done. Was over. It's actually this part, trying to get it like look good.
Well, and that's not an ad for sunscreen.
I need to wear sunscreen. Well guys, the one thing I had over Grant was servicing the winches,
It's like Legos.
and now he knows how to do that.
I have to, I had to because I didn't want these comments like I'm just leaving my wife to go do these things while I go climb with my buddies.
Man, I liked having one thing I knew that Grant didn't. It's alright, I still type faster than he does. Okay, so he's servicing the winches today. I'm finishing up our safety netting around the boat, and then I think we're finally going to measure and order some upholstery vinyl for our cabin top ceiling. Yeah, we've debated what material to use on here, and we thought about just painting it so we could just get sailing and kind of be done and do this like in another season or another call out, but to
Still
sand, yeah, we still might do that, but to sand everything is kind of risky because like we have basically our house in here and we'd have to remove everything, tarp it, like, I don't know, we'll see. Thanks for watching. Up next, watch us take on some more boat projects as we ready to set sail. And thanks to our new patrons this week.
Oh, aren't they cute? Oh, they're huge. I know. Oh, there's 3 of them.